These are all silent taxes at work. It's not, again, income taxes, but it's an erosion of what your dollars are starting to do for you.
I call it the triple threat episode with Richard, Henry, and I. This is part 2. We're talking about the money stuff that actually shows up in your life.
I think the first thing is to pay attention for the headlines for the right reasons. Most people are actually watching the wrong scoreboard. And if you don't see the full chain, you don't see the relationship, you can't design a structure.
Okay, welcome back to the, I call it the triple threat episode with Richard, Henry, and I. This is part 2. And as you know, we're talking about the money stuff that actually shows up in your life. And this part 2 is for the you and me crowd, the ones who are working and saving and wondering why it still feels like our money disappears faster than the last donut at a staff meeting. We're talking about how inflation, debt, and the banking system are quietly messing with your paycheck. We talked earlier in the first episode. If we want to win, we don't have to play their game. We get to play ours. And so that's what this episode is about, and how to stop, losing money the normal way and start keeping it the smart way. Wealth on Main Street, I think, is where common sense is still legal and control is the new currency. And thinking differently is definitely not optional. So let's dive in, guys.
Awesome. Really happy to be back. And the last part we talked about was the impact of tariffs and on enterprise value for business owners overnight. That really draws a lot of headaches, and it starts blurring the lines between personal and corporate. Today, when we talk about tax, most people just think about income tax. I think the first thing is to pay attention for the headlines for the right reasons, not for the TV programming, but more so for how it can translate to the impact to you. And so this is where we'll dive into how those headlines or policy decisions, how does that really relate to the you and me level? Because what I like to refer it to is silent tax. It could be labeled differently as inflation. It can be labeled differently as tariffs, but those policy decisions that are happening at Ottawa and Washington, they will make decisions in a system that you don't control, you don't own, such like printing money or raising tariffs or piling on more debt or spending more for new programs. All of that is going to show up somewhere, but they're not giving you an invoice with line by line items on the receipt that you actually paid for this. It's something that no one's really telling you. So trying to help translate that, because it sneaks into the prices of everything you touch, from your groceries to the fuel station that you go through and the mortgages. These are all silent taxes at work. It's not, again, income taxes, but it's an erosion of what your dollars are starting to do for you.
Look, we want your family to have more money. That's our goal. That's our job. At Wealth on Main Street, our goal is to have you keep as much of that hard-earned capital where it belongs, with the people you love and care about. Easy way to do that, pick up a copy of this book, Don't Spread the Wealth. This book is all about keeping the money in the family. Think of it like an aquarium. The money never leaves, and you can use it and reuse it as many times as possible. Go ahead and pick up a copy today at don'tspreadwealth.com.
When Capitol Hill or Parliament Hill make those decisions, they ripple straight through manufacturing, shipping, energy, and then it ends up right here in your cash flow. So I want to share another diagram here. This one is specifically at the family finances level. And so similarly, something like a tariff increase, especially if you're importing goods from the US or such, if there's impacts to some way, duties that Canada raises on you, these are still taxes. They're just called duty, but that's going to result in consumer prices that change for you. Things like interest rate, things like your mortgage payment, and ultimately your cash flow. So if you're on $100,000 salary and you're getting the CPI Bank of Canada inflation rate, well, you're still on a fixed income. It's risen above that, but the actual reality of what we talked about doesn't actually translate the exact way. And today we'll really dive into it and help see. We're going to look under the hood and see the mechanics of how it's actually impacting you, because most people are actually watching the wrong scoreboard. The CPI in Ottawa's scoreboard or Washington's scoreboard is theirs, but your family scoreboard is related to these cash flow, the margin, and in true fact, your time and your freedom, because no one unpacks those costs for you. And the things that we're going to talk about will start helping you see it from the vantage point and the lens that hopefully we want you to see. And if you don't see the full chain, you don't see the relationship, then you can't design a structure. You can't design you can't bring in the right tools. And therefore, you then can't apply the right strategies specific to your situation. Everyone's wealth portfolio is different. So they're going to apply different tools. They're going to apply different strategies. But if you're buying strategies or if you're buying different tools without clarity on the context and the environment and the relationship to them, to your goals and objectives, then you're chasing rates of return, which is what they want from you.
We have a ton more amazing conversations and great clips just like this if you go right here. Or if you want to watch the rest of this conversation, the full episode, click right here.